Hey YouTube, this is TheAdminShines here in another video, and today in this video we're doing my Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 rewrite for Episode 6, the Meetup spot. So it's kind of weird, I've recorded the rewrite for Episodes 4 and 5, I haven't even uploaded them yet, The Poet and El Bazaar, but yeah. So yeah, this is just like the main things that happen. It's not like little in-between things, like there might be more. If like this was actually filmed, there might be more like just like to fill up the episode, but this is like the main just like plot. It's kind of like point. I did like with point form, but yeah, it's called the Meetup spot. Madison, Nicholas, Alicia, Carlos, Helena, Victor, and Daniel sneak out in the night as planned. Victor leads the way, revealing that he has the keys to the garage where all the bikes and cars are parked. All three of the Clarks, Victor and Helena, go in one car while Daniel rides on the back of a motorcycle that Carlos drives. Madison suggested for Daniel to go with Carlos to stay away from Victor. Daniel questions whether Carlos knows how to drive a motorcycle or not, but Helena assures him that Carlos does. John's men hear the engine start and wake up and see them already leave. John then orders his men to follow and kill them. John and his men chase after the group on motorcycles, so he goes with his men. A short shootout occurs while being chased, but it ends with Carlos. When Carlos stops his bike on the side of the road and shoots some proctors from behind as they pass him. John and his remaining men eventually lose the group in the midst of the night. Diana, Eddie, Wes, and Mariana encounter zombies. There's a little girl zombie that Mariana stares at until Diana kills it, and all the other zombies as well. Kaltok, Walker, and Lee are already in El Bazaar. Kaltok and Lee want points to buy food, water, and more ammunition, so they ask around to see if anyone is hiring. Lee and Walker split up to cover more ground. They chose the entrance to El Bazaar as their meetup spot. Some people tell them to talk to other people, and others tell them that they don't know anyone that's willing to hire. Lee finds Colton, who then tells him that he will give him 500 points to kill a certain woman. Colton is meaning Luciana, but Lee doesn't know Luciana. Lee agrees to the job before telling Walker. Colton points out Luciana Galvez for him. Weapons are not allowed in El Bazaar, so Lee will have to find a creative way to kill Luciana. Lee goes to Walker and tells him about the job. Kawataka is disappointed and tells Lee that they are not assassins. Walker tells Lee to not take the job and keep looking for another, but Lee believes that the job he has is the only one they will find, so he follows Luciana around for a while to see what she does after they split up. Colton hired Lee because he is too scared to do the job himself. He does not want the proctors to kill him. He's a scared baby. Now that we know Luciana is being watched, we go to her perspective. Luciana asks a stranger that she overheard talking about Mexicali, what is in Mexicali, so she asked him what's in Mexicali, because she was planning on going to Mexicali in season 3, and she gave like Nick a letter when she left saying like, hey, I'm going to Mexicali and I love you and stuff. The stranger then tells her that it is worse than where they are now, that Mexicali is overrun. Then it goes to Mariana, or like the other group's perspective. Mariana asks her father if it is safe in El Bazaar. Eddie then tells Wes and Mariana the truth, that El Bazaar is not safe. It's not a safe zone, but instead it is a trading zone where you can trade and buy things. But if you haven't cleared your debt, you are not allowed to leave. Wes, knowing that almost nowhere will be safe, says that it must be safer than being outside. So he's basically just really determined to find somewhere safe. Eddie tells Wes that once he and Diana lead him and his daughter there to El Bazaar, he will leave because he can't be seen in El Bazaar. Or at the El Bazaar. Wes, not caring why Eddie can't be seen there, asks if Diana will stay with them. Diana tells Wes that she's always been better off on her own, but they will see. So she's unsure as of right now. Madison and the group park the vehicles away from El Bazaar, knowing that if they're seen with them, it'll be suspicious because they got El Bazaar straight from La Casa, which is John's hideout. They make their way to the doors where Madison makes eye contact with Lenora, who is the teller from season 3. So in season 3, she just cast as Teller because that's her role, that's her job. But the actress for Teller then basically said, like, she named her character Lenora. So I was like, okay, let's just name her Lenora then. Elena Reyes, not related to Wes Reyes, is in the line ahead of her. Madison walks up to Elena. Elena is happy to see her and desperate to be with the group. Elena tells Madison that the hotel was overrun by zombies and her nephew, Hector Reyes, was killed. Alicia tells Elena that she is sad to hear about Hector's death because, she didn't have a relationship with Hector, but she did know him. They had talked a few times. They're kind of friends. Elena and Victor share a glance, but Victor looks away quickly because he knows that she does not like him, that she dislikes Victor. Elena tells Madison Madison and her group that she thought El Bazaar would be a safe place to be for a little while, so that is why she is there. It is Elena's turn to give up her weapons to the riot guard at the door, who happens to be the same one from season 3 as well. Elena is let in and waits by the door for Madison and her group because, she's just really desperate to be with the group because she's been on her own for a little bit. When it's Madison's turn, to be talking to Teller, Lenora says to Madison, "It's you." Madison Clark tells the Teller that she is surprised that Lenora remembers her because she sees so many faces. Lenora responds by telling Madison that she never forgets a face and then asks her and her group to give up all their weapons, which does happen. Madison and her group are given points and are let in after their weapons are confiscated. So in El Bazaar, there's like a point system, which is basically like money. There's also like the gold and everything. But points, because it was never really like showed. Like I know Caltaka and Madison had like the gold and everything, but for points it was never really shown in the show. So I kind of just made it like little, almost like Settlers of Catan, like the little hexagon things, kind of like something like that. Madison distributes the coins to each member in the group and tells them to meet up at the gate when it gets dark. Nick and Alicia go off together. Nick tells Alicia that he has to go somewhere and she follows him. Daniel, never being in El Bazaar, stays with Madison and Victor, who were accompanied by Elena. Helena and Carlos stay together. Madison says to Daniel, Victor, and Elena, "Let's get ourselves a drink." Victor agrees and the four go to a bar. Nicholas Clark goes to El Madarife, who is excited to see him. Nick is also happy. Alicia Clark looks around as she slowly finds out that Nick led her to a drug den. El Madarife asks Nick where his friend Troy is. Nick tells El Madarife that he's dead. El Madarife is saddened a bit and tells Nick that he is sorry about Troy, but then he changes the subject by saying whatever Nick wants is on the house. Nick looks at the jar of brain stems and thinks about having one, but does not choose it because that is what he had when he was with Troy, and it was special before. Alicia tells Nick that she thinks they should go. El Madarife asks Nick if his girlfriend can't handle his drugs, the drugs. Nick tells him that Alicia is his sister. Then El Madarife is reminded of Nick's real girlfriend. He tells Nick that a woman named Luciana claiming to be his girlfriend was in the drug den and that she missed him. Nick asks El Madarife if she's still around. El Madarife tells Nick that he's not sure, but the last time he saw her was yesterday. Nick thanks El Madarife as he leaves, leaving Alicia, who then follows him. Once Alicia catches up to him, he tells Alicia that they need to find Luciana. The four are still sitting are sitting at a table with 4 chairs. Madison is seated beside Victor, while Elaine and Daniel are sitting next to each other across from the first pair. They are laughing and talking together while each sharing a drink. Daniel and Victor forget their hatred for each other while drinking because they're just all having fun talking about whatever they're talking about. Caltaka Walker meets up with Lee again, asking him if he found any other jobs that don't involve killing. Lee tells him that he didn't find any. Lee didn't even try to find a job because he was just following Luciana around the whole time. Walker tells Lee that he had no luck either. Helena talks about how amazing El Bazaar is while she walks with her brother around it. Carlos is not at all amazed by El Bazaar and knows it will fall one day, just like everything else does. Carlos makes eye contact with the proctor standing watch. Carlos stares at his gun, wanting it. Helena tells Carlos not to just always pretend that things are boring. In sign language, Carlos tells Helena that things aren't boring, like surviving. He finds surviving fun. Helena then tells him to live instead of survive. Carlos nods his head no. If you haven't been keeping up with the series, Carlos is mute, so that's why. Diana, Eddie, Wes, and Mariana find a small shack to rest in as it gets late. There's only one bed, so Wes and Mariana take it. Wes offered the bed to Diana, and she could share it with Mariana, but Diana turned him down, not wanting to be treated like a princess because she wants to, be treated like a beast, I guess. Nick and Alicia eventually find Luciana Galvez. Nick and Luciana share a hug. Luciana apologizes for leaving him back at the ranch. Nick tells Luciana that she was right. The ranch was not safe, as you saw in season 3. Nick and Luciana start to softly cry, which makes Alicia do the same as she thinks of Jake Otto. Everyone then meets up at the gate where it gets dark. When it gets dark, Nick tells his mom and shows her Luciana. Madison pretends that she's happy to see Luciana, so she hugs Nick's girlfriend. But Madison knows that Luciana is just going to keep Nick away from her and be a distraction. And then the episode ends. So I'm really excited for episode 8 though. Episode 8 is gonna be pretty good. I don't really have any idea. I mean, I have soft ideas for it's gonna mainly be with Nick versus Madison and Daniel versus Victor, and just Alicia kind of on her own. But I don't really want to split up the characters because people usually hate that, kind of like with Fear the Walking Dead right now. People kind of hate the characters being split up, and just terrible writing anyway. So I'm trying to kind of avoid that. But yeah, but I just know what's gonna happen in the first half. So everything is just kind of leading up to episode 8, and that's why everyone's meeting up at El Bazaar. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe, like for more, and bye. So, and if you didn't know, this doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess this kind of does. I've been reading like lots of, or I have read lots of Dave Erickson interviews on what he would do in season 4 if he was still writing it with all the characters, like their like how their story would move on and everything, and what their conflict would be, and how like the characters want to have revenge against Proctor John, which I initially had Madison when I was first starting this. I initially had Madison like an idea of her teaming up with Proctor John on being bad, but then when I read about Proctor John, them wanting to have revenge on Proctor John, and like the next season be about kind of like vengeance, then I was like, nope, that's not a thing. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe, like for more episodes.